This time, on episode 211 of Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., we talk Inhumans, something inhuman this way comes. We talk Marvel News Roundup and your feedback.
I'm Michelle from the Starling Tribune, a proud member of the Gonna Geek Network. Just like the show you're listening to now, the opinions expressed are those of each individual host. Check out all the other podcasts at GonnaGeekNetwork.com and get ready because geekiness begins in 3, 2, 1.
You have been granted clearance by Director Phil Coulson. Stand by for S.H.I.E.L.D. debriefing. All information to be discussed here is classified and may only be discussed among agents granted clearance by the S.H.I.E.L.D. Director.
Now it's time for your scheduled debriefing. I'm Director SP.
I'm Agent Haley.
I'm Agent Lauren.
And I'm Consultant Michelle.
Welcome to Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., a Marvel Comic Universe fan show. This show is recorded on Sunday, October 22nd, 2017, live from the Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. studios and broadcast worldwide via www.geeks.live. Ladies, happy National Nut Day!
Yay!
I mean, there's so many things I could say to that.
But we're not allowed to say them on this podcast.
Yeah.
Anybody here allergic to nuts?
No.
Nope.
Okay.
No.
So everybody should be happy. It's Nut Day.
Sure. We are really restraining ourselves right now, dear audience, because our minds are just in the gutter.
Hey, not every National Day is a grand slam home run, bottom of the ninth inning in the World Series. You got to take the small ones like National Nut Day with you.
Which reminds me. Oh, God. Which reminds me, congrats to the Astros for going to the World Series.
Yay! All right, let's get back to Marvel here now that we got the World Series out of the way. Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a fan-based podcast on the ABC television show Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Marvel's Inhumans. Marvel's Defenders on Netflix, Legion on FX, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and the Marvel Comic Universe in general.
Because of monologuing to your dad's statue.
If you'd like to talk to us about monologuing, you can find us at our website, legendsofshield.com.
If you'd like to leave us a message of your best monologue, you can call 844-THE-BUS-1, 844-843-2871.
If you'd like to monologue to us as if we were your father, you can hit us up on Facebook. Our page is Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. Podcast.
If you'd like to try monologuing in 140 characters, or 280 if you're one of those people, you can find us on Twitter at Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D.
And you can share a video of yourself monologuing to our YouTube page, youtube.com/GonnaGeek.
And remember, Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a proud member of the GonnaGeek.com network.
See, I did monologue once there. That was awesome. And definitely not to a statue. Definitely not to a statue.
No, I think in this scenario, you are the statue.
I see. Well, at least I'm serving some sort of purpose on this show. In the meantime, let's get into the episode. Yes, we are still on the Inhumans for another 3 episodes after this, and this 5th episode of the Inhumans is entitled Something Inhuman This Way Comes. Michelle, tell me what that's about.
Well, the Inhumans are coming, they're on Earth, they're coming to a plan on Earth, I suppose. I mean, the family gets reunited. Maximus has a plan to do something. So I guess that's probably what it means. Something inhuman this way comes. All the Inhumans are coming together.
Okay, that's good enough for me. Anybody else has anything different? Haley, Lauren, anything different than that?
It's also a takeoff of the whole, something wicked this way comes thing from, is it Macbeth? By the pricking of my thumbs, something wicked this way comes.
This is not the first Shakespearean reference in the series then, because I remember something Shakespearean before, or was that the Defenders? I don't know. We're watching a lot of Marvel lately. It's all confusing.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Okay, fair enough. So Haley, who directed this episode of The Inhumans?
It's a familiar name, Kevin Tancharoen, which is a little surprising because he's kind of an action type director guy, and this was not really an action type episode. A lot of, not seeing the action, but he has 23 directing credits going back to 2004. Starting with music videos, and then he did the web series Mortal Kombat Rebirth. He also did Mortal Kombat Legacy, Sequestered. He did an episode of Supergirl, a couple of The Flash, an episode of 12 Monkeys, episode of Star, an episode of Iron Fist, 9 episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D, 2 of The New Prison Break, 1 of Midnight Texas, 2 of Legends of Tomorrow, this episode of Inhumans, and he's done 3 episodes of Arrow.
This is his 9th appearance that we've discussed on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. And if you want to catch his previous appearances on this podcast in discussion, not like he's here being interviewed or anything, but we just talk about him behind his back, are episodes 65, 71, 93, 115, 122, 158, 175, and 198. So he's been on quite a bit. Lauren, who has written this episode of The Inhumans?
This episode was written by Scott Reynolds, who we have discussed on this show previously. He has done, he has 7 writing credits since 2006 with 2 episodes of E-Ring, 6 episodes of Dexter Early Cuts, 9 episodes of Dexter, 2 of The Following, 4 of Jessica Jones, 2 of Iron Fist, and this episode of Inhumans.
And once again, this is Scott Reynolds' 9th discussion appearance on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. And if you want to hit the previous episodes, just go into the show notes. So we're going to start off our discussion in the episode with the singular highlight, which we all agreed upon before the podcast started in pre-recording preparation discussion. And that is the story between the cousins, Karnak and Gorgon. So, Haley, what's going on between those two?
Well, you kind of start with, who they used to be. Gorgon was the one that, rushed in without thinking, and Karnak, all he did was think. He never did anything without knowing what was going to happen. And this is kind of Karnak having to think and act the way Gorgon would because his abilities aren't working the way they're supposed to. And then when they finally get to reunite, it's like, oh, I understand you better now.
What would Karnak do?
What would Gorgon do?
Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked the whole, these two having to find something valuable in how the other acted. We have Karnak, who we've seen previously is just super analytical, kind of a downer. And here he's very much out of his element, and he's having to think, okay, what would Gorgon do? You have to act kind of impulsively. And then Gorgon having to be a lot more analytical and methodical, trying to, think smart, not just rushing in. And then when the two of them meet up, it's actually a really touching scene where Gorgon's like, look, I know I'm dumb. And then Karnak's like, shut up, you're amazing.
You see,
I loved it when Gorgon comes in because he has to save Karnak because Karnak gets tied up and becomes an Inhuman pinata. And so Gorgon comes in, he stomps and he knocks everybody. And Karnak's like, no, go save the girl. And he goes over and he saves Jen. And Jen's like, who are you? And he's like, I'm Gorgon. And he's like, oh my gosh, Karnak talks about you all the time. And Gorgon's all like, oh, really?
That was so cute. It was just like this wonderful family moment between them because, again, when we see the flashbacks, all we see, and even in the first episode, all we see is Karnak, putting him down. And Gorgon's just kind of this happy dude, just so excited. He was so excited about finding the flag, which I was very happy that they got it right because it's been bleached by radiation. And just every time Gorgon shows like a moment of happiness and enthusiasm when they're back on Adelan, Karnak's kind of there to be the, you know, the downer voice of
The wet
reason.
blanket.
Yeah, the wet blanket. But here on Earth, he's just always like, oh, my cousin Gorgon, I miss him. He's going to find me, blah, blah, blah. And Gorgon finds out how much he really does mean to this wet blanket here. And it was really honestly touching.
So that was interesting about the flag. First, it was cool that they got it right. And it's still starched and it had wire hanger in it, making it straight and everything. Because there's no wind in space.
Yeah, there's actually, okay, read Mary Roach's
Packing for Mars.
Yeah, Packing for Mars, thank you. And there's actually a chapter about the just the committee and the fight to get a flag on there and what should the flag be and how do they do it and how much should it weigh? Because, you know, you're going to space, weight's a premium.
Well, we know at least the Apollo 13 flag, I believe. No, it was Apollo 11 flag. Weighed a little bit more because it had the staff in it from Legends of Tomorrow.
Ha. I need to catch up on that. I need to watch that show, actually.
Yes.
I need to catch up on it. I keep seeing GIFs of it on Tumblr and I'm like, oh, this looks fantastic. I need to watch it.
The
But
first
let me
season
time.
is very like hit or miss, kind of rough. The Western episode is amazing. Season 2 is just balls out crazy fun.
That's what it looks like, and that is what I want. But yeah, it's just read Packing for Mars. It's a fantastic book. It has everything you ever wanted to know about astronauts pooping.
Yep.
So if you want to know where Adelan is, all you have to do is know how fast Gorgon can run and figure out how far he can run in 10 minutes. And the fact that we have 6 flags from the Apollo missions on Earth is the 6 starting points. And then you draw a circle around those 6 flags. And somewhere in those 6 probability circles are where Adelan is. And then
6
if you
flags over Adelan.
That's right. I was
really,
getting there.
really crappy theme park on the moon.
That's right. So it's
We're
got
really fun
Whalers on
around.
the moon. We carry a harpoon. But there ain't no whale, so we tell tall tales and sing our whaling tune.
So now Marvel has constrained themselves on where exactly Adelan is. So we can figure this out. We're smart people.
This is true. Y'all know math. I don't remember math.
You know, one of the things I've noticed is that Gorgon is the one that has fun, you know, by taking the flag and everything. And one of the great things I noticed is like, he's like, you know, yeah, I make trouble, but I'm having fun. And look at you, Karnak. You've just been sitting there and you haven't even been playing chess. It's just, he's always in his head. And, you know, one of the things about them going to Hawaii, it's like, Karnak's learning how to have fun and all this type of thing. And Crystal is like, what do you mean? Hang out with your friends. Is it just like no Inhuman on Adelan knows, like, is there no word for fun? Is that just like a foreign concept? Or
it really seems like that because their society is, okay, it's weird because their society seems so built on sustainability. And yet Crystal has headphones, so somebody has to make music. Unless it's just listening to recordings of Inhuman screeching, I don't know.
Or she's just, you know, listening to a, you know, bootleg stream of Spotify or something. I don't, you know, I mean,
They took the gold record that Sagan sent up into space.
Yeah, they just jacked it. But yeah, it's that whole, there's so much potential there. But the thing is that I feel like a society that is bent on sustainability and no fun, for that type of society, they're architecture is incredibly ornate.
We don't know when they went up there. There's no time reference of when they started their civilization on the moon.
How did they get there? How did they get this technology to start building on there? There's so many questions that I want answered, but I don't know.
It's like, did they start building that from scratch from moon rock, or is it like a ship that landed and they just sort of built out from the ship that landed? Or
and they
is it Kree technology?
Yeah, they have such a small population. It's hard to believe they've been there for very long.
Yeah, is this the result of some sort of horrible, event?
Cataclysm?
Yeah, that their population is this small now?
Well, no, because I think if they had had a bigger population at some point, then they wouldn't be as restricted on everything else. Because, their city would be built to support a larger population. And it seems like it's, kind of at capacity. So I wonder if there used to be maybe more than one city that was part of this kingdom, or, they're just a small population that has been brought here recently.
Maybe the Ghoul brought them up there as a little extra stash in case something happened to Earth.
I've just started a Stargate rewatch.
Oh,
that show holds up, y'all.
Including the pilot episode?
For the episode where they go to the Mongols.
That is the next episode we're about to watch, and we're all just kind of dreading it because that is possibly my least favorite episode.
It is the worst episode of all of the series.
Good to know. Mogul. Gotcha.
Mongol.
Mogul. What?
Those are completely different words. They mean different things.
Fair enough. And talking about words meaning something, the royal family gets smacked around by words in this episode.
Yeah, they finally get called out. Medusa has been treating people terribly. I mean, she's been treating Louise terribly. She put Locus in the trunk, and they just kind of drive along the highway with her, and Louise calls her out on it, and she's like, do you treat everybody this terribly? Because it's no wonder that you got overthrown. And Medusa's like, well, you don't understand. It's like, no, you treat people terribly. They are going to treat you terribly. It's common sense.
Yeah, and Medusa says Terrigenesis is all. And it seems like once you undergo Terrigenesis, like that's your job for life. Like you can't do anything else. You can't heal or be a painter or be a dentist. Like if you come out and you can locate things, like that's it. You are like the finder, and like that's all you can do. You can't have like an ability and like a side job of like being a florist or whatever. You just do one thing,
which is terrible. Like, what if you have some completely useless power?
Then you go to the mines.
Yeah.
So dumb. It's seriously, Adelan society is the worst.
Yes. And Maximus was right to overthrow them.
Yeah, even if Maximus was also just a gigantic jerk this episode, and we're finally, in the past couple episodes getting more of why he is the bad guy of the series. The Inhuman royal family is terrible. Adelan society is terrible. It does deserve to be overthrown, but Maximus is very obviously doing it for very self-aggrandizing reasons.
Well, does it deserve to be overthrown or just changed?
I am all for a top-to-bottom restructuring.
Yeah, I think they just need to pack it up. A lot of ferrying with Lockjaw. They'll move to Hawaii. They'll install the Hawaiian king. It'll be great. Yeah,
the Hawaiian separatists, work out a deal with the Hawaiian separatists.
Because, I mean, if you're going to leave the moon and go somewhere, a tropical paradise would probably be a great place to go, which I was watching this episode and there's a whole heck of a lot. They're
going to get so sunburned.
Yeah, I know. A whole heck of a lot of green space that they're showing on screen. There's really not that much green space on Oahu. It is a very populated island.
Yeah, but they're still, I mean, all the green space that they're in is like ranches and stuff. Like, again,
I mean, there's cornfields,
yeah, there's taro fields, there's
Wheat fields.
apparently weed fields, but a lot of this was filmed on I'm blanking out on the name of the ranch. I went there. It starts with a K. It's where they filmed like Jurassic Park.
You've mentioned it before.
Yeah, I'm blanking out. Kualoa Ranch. And that is a lot of greenery. It's gorgeous. And because it's so much greenery, that's where they film a lot of just random jungle scenes for movies.
Right, because
but if you really want to get a lot of the greenery in Hawaii, you go to the other islands. You go to
Hawaii,
like Maui.
Yeah,
you go to actually the Big Island.
Yeah,
I went hiking in Maui, and it was amazing. And I did get sunburned, and that was only just a couple of hours hike. So the fact that these people are not just like peeling right now is, on a show about superpowered people, the least realistic thing for me.
If they're getting any sort of sunlight whatsoever in Adeland, it's got to be intense because there's no atmosphere to dissipate it. So maybe they're just naturally...
No, they've got the dome thing. Most of them are living in the mines. I don't think they're getting a lot of exposure to solar radiation.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, do they have windows? Have we seen a window in Adeland?
They have windows, but it's up into the dome. So the question is, can they see outside the dome? I think they can, because how would Gorgon have known that there was a car there?
Sensors. Cameras.
We've seen him go out on patrols, and we've kind of established that we don't know how he survives out there.
I know.
Well, he runs really fast, so he can run somewhere and get back before losing oxygen.
Come on.
I don't know. I'm just making crap up.
He brings the Inhuman that projects like a little bubble of atmosphere around him. I don't know.
That could be.
His hooves have moon gills.
Or something, because I don't understand how he's running around in shoes, but he has hooves.
Yeah, so I was thinking about that earlier because, okay, I've been working on a Halloween /Ren Fair /convention costume recently. So I've been going through all sorts of DIY and Pinterest things. And I ran into one the other day that was how to make really awesome and convincing looking like satyr hooves. And I was thinking it would have been so easy to do something like that in practical effects for his costume. But instead, they're like, okay, we'll just put him in shoes so that we don't have to spend money on this.
Also, it makes him stand out a lot less,
True, because we do find out in this episode, which actually makes the shoe thing make more sense, that when he goes and he gets the flag, that he left hoof prints all around it in the moon dust. So he has to go and fix his tracks because they're going to find hoof prints on the moon.
Okay.
So here, when he's wearing boots, he's leaving boot prints, which are a perfectly normal thing to find. So they can't track him as easy. I mean, they can still track the boot prints, but they're not going to know it's him specifically.
Brought up the flag thing again. I feel obligated to mention the fact that somebody on Earth could probably see up there all the time. So the satellite coming over in 21 minutes kind of doesn't hold water unless it's on the dark side of the moon. And we didn't land on the dark side of the moon in Apollo.
Are you saying that this whole thing is mysterious as the dark side of the moon?
Mysterious, I think, would be an overstatement, but okay.
I'm quoting Mulan, okay?
Yeah,
I'm quoting Mulan.
Mulan is always great to quote because we know one of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D's best is in Mulan.
This is true. One of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. best is Mulan.
There's that. I was going to get there. I'm glad you mentioned it. There you go.
You're taking too long to get there.
Yeah, it seems to be a problem with the Inhumans too. So the royal family is together. Maximus is proving that he is monologuing and to himself, basically, or to his father's statue and going more and more nuts. The family's united, but Crystal is still looking for the family, but takes time out to have a beach day.
On the one hand, I can't blame her because the beaches in Hawaii are gorgeous. And because her power is apparently, connected with the elements, she's like, oh my God, I've never seen this much water. There's so much stuff everywhere. Because again, everything in Adelan is so tiny and regimented. So it was a nice touch to see that here. However, I could have done without Beach Bum Dude. He's annoying. I don't like him.
Yeah. What I find interesting, I used to live in LA and I had two different guys take me on the same date, and that's like the Santa Monica Pier. And if you notice, it's like Beach Bum and Jen are doing standard Hawaiian foreplay maneuvers, which is take off your clothes and join me in the ocean.
Good move.
It is, but it's just kind of weird that it's like, what, nobody will notice that we will have Jen and Beach Bum Dude do the same thing, like
on the same beach.
I was thinking, what would the equivalent of that for my hometown be? And I'm like, Walmart. Thankfully, I moved
to
out
a
of
dead
that
road.
Yeah, thankfully, I moved out of my hometown before I experienced the magic of Walmart dates.
The magic of Walmart dates.
It's the only thing open after 9 p.m.
Oh.
Actually, yeah, it's a 24-hour super Walmart. Guys, it's a super Walmart. It was such a huge event when it opened.
Yep, same in my town. Well, not even my town. My town didn't have a Walmart. The neighboring town went from the old style of Walmart to a supercenter Walmart. It was a real big deal.
Yeah.
What was that movie with Natalie Portman in the Walmart? What was that called?
Oh, Where the Heart Is.
Yep.
Where the Heart Is. Great movie, by the way, but she gives birth in a Walmart. I thought it was, I'm into Hallmark movie. It's basically a Hallmark movie.
It really is. A friend of mine would just loved that movie when I was in high school, so.
Which, by the way, last night on the Hallmark Channel, The Harvest Wedding played. So I'm up on my Hallmark Channel movies.
They just announced 34 new movies for this year.
Christmas movies?
Hallmark Christmas movies, yep.
That is a lot of movies.
I know it starts Friday night. Their countdown to Christmas.
It's not even Halloween.
I know, it's awful. But there was a picture of three of the women from Fuller House. Lori Loughlin, and then like the two daughters that are on there now. Well, and they're all in their own Hallmark movie this year. They're not in the same one.
It's because Hallmark Channel is the face of Hallmark Channel is Cameron Candace Bure.
Yep.
Okay, SP.
She's in one of them.
SP, if you ever start a new podcast, it has to be on the Hallmark Channel.
I have an idea of what my next podcast is going to be, and it's not going to be on the Hallmark Channel, although that is like the 5th or 6th podcast down the road that I'm thinking of.
No. Your next channel movies. Your next one has to be on the Hallmark movies.
As much as you talk about them now.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
You could probably just cut together a Hallmark Channel movie podcast from outtakes from all your other podcasts.
So let me ask you this. Would it be better to talk about the Inhumans or Hallmark Channel?
Inhumans. I can't stand Hallmark Channel movies.
I can barely stand Inhumans.
It's the same thing over and over again, right?
Inhumans has fight scenes, okay?
Which we don't see.
They're having it off camera.
Well, we got a couple. We got the Karnak versus the random drug guys, and then Gordon against the random drug guys
beating up Karnak, which kind of counts.
Okay, I'll allow it.
But Gorgon beating up the drug guys.
Perhaps the most intense action scene of the series occurs, and we don't see it at all.
That was.
I know. It's like there's gunshots, and then there's some screaming, and then Locust and Louise and Medusa and Black Bolt come, and they reunited with Karnak and Gorgon, and they're like, what happened? There were these guys, and we heard gunshots, and they're like, oh yeah, we took care of it. I mean, like, did Black Bolt scream and take care of it? If so, like, that would have been cool to have seen.
Yeah.
Also, Locust took a fatal gunshot wound,
and we did
completely unaffected until she dies.
Yeah, that was such a BS moment, you guys. I got actually angry at the TV. Her whole purpose here was to die annoyingly so that Black Bolt has something to think about. That's her whole purpose. She was basically fridged.
She was Bromir.
Did Boromir have a purpose, though?
Boromir, and yes.
Yeah,
Boromir's purpose was to show the fallibility of men and that the ring, like the power of the ring. And I could go on. This is not a Lord of the Rings podcast. I have a tattoo in Elvish, you guys. I could go on.
But I think that's what the writers were trying to do with her. They were trying to give her like the Boromir moment, like when Boromir dies.
Boromir, you guys. Boromir.
Boromir, but yeah, he's like, he tells Aragorn, you know, be my king and stuff. And Locust is like, be the king we deserve. So I think that's what they were trying to do, was to give her that.
But we actually see Boromir get shot, and it's this horribly tragic moment. Here, she just kind of falls over, and they're like, oh no, she's been shot. It's...
Dr. Karnak says it's a fatal gunshot wound, and he's been spot on with everything for the last few weeks, so...
Okay, so the part where he punches the bullet out of, Weed Girl was really cool. The part where he reached in to pull it out was not, because that's how you get infections, touching things with dirty fingers.
But
that is how President Garfield died.
But he cleansed his hands going for the fern to make a makeshift needle.
No, that's how you get amoebas. And then, so when he gets to, she's like, oh my God, no, I have a sewing kit. What you need to do in this case is disinfect the needle and the thread. Okay?
And also maybe your grimy hands.
And your grimy hands. You need, your first aid kit. You need to carry gloves. You need to carry the needle and thread, yes. And you need to carry a little container of like alcohol, whether it's vodka or rubbing alcohol or something. Alcohol wipes. Something to disinfect. Because that needle and thread have just random germs on them. This is how that wound is going to get horribly infected, and she's going to die because he used his grimy hands to pull out the bullet and then sew her up with grimy hands and grimy needle and thread.
It doesn't matter.
Wait till the next episode when they find her body.
Yeah, I was going to say, Haley took the words right out of my mouth, because she's gone. We'll never see her again, according to the series so far. So it doesn't matter if she lives or dies.
Weed Girl is out of the picture.
As is most of the weed.
That's the stuff they had packaged up.
That was hilarious. They burn it, and it's just like, oh man, they're just going to be too distracted to chase them now.
Dude, what are we doing?
Should have left them some marshmallows so they can make s'mores.
And nobody on the island is going to be curious to report the fire, if anything else. I mean, police...
Or the huge smell of burning weed.
Police the fire department should already be on its way. Oahu is not that remote.
It's really not.
Are they supposed to all be on Oahu this whole time, though?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Because Lockjaw dropped them off on Oahu. They are all on Oahu, just different parts of it. And again, Oahu is not that big.
Nope. And by the way, there was a little consternation over Twitter over what exactly Hawaii's state quote was. And it was mentioned by Beach Surfer Dude that it was, "This is my office." But in reality...
So I'm going to try to actually read this in Hawaiian, and I know I'm going to mess it up, so I'm sorry. The official state motto of Hawaii is "Ua mau ke ea o ka aina I ka pono," which translates to "the life of the land is perpetuated in righteousness." It's a quote attributed to King Kamehameha III.
That'd be so cool if Hawaii got its royal family back.
Yeah, if you want to read more about Hawaii, the history of Hawaii, and how Hawaii got taken into the U.S., one book that I can recommend is Sarah Vowell's Strange Fishes. Or, I'm sorry, Unfamiliar Fishes. It's really good, and the audiobook is fantastic.
Cool. I will be looking that one up. So does anybody have anything else that they wish to say about this episode of The Inhumans? Michelle, we'll start with you.
I love Mortis, because Mortis and Flora and Lot have lava hands, and lava hands is tied up, and he tries to get away and he runs and Mortis turns like, really? I mean, he's like another highlight of this series, and I don't think the writers probably meant it to be that way. But yeah, cause, what's her name has this idea of, apparently she thinks Lava Hands and Declan are Black Bolt's friends and Black Bolt's going to care about him. But yeah, Mortis, I love Mortis. I actually want him to live.
Are you talking about Oron or Flora?
Well, no. So Mortis and Flora have lava hands.
Yes.
And then Mortis calls Oron, and she's like, cause she comes back from the dead basically.
Yes.
And she tells Mortis, come back here with lava hands and we'll make Black Bolt come to us. That's her plan.
Right. So it's Oron's plan.
Right.
And it's like,
but I just still,
yeah, he met this rando like a couple of hours ago. He's got his like wife and family back now. You think he's gonna care?
Oron came back to life. I mean, that's worthy of discussion.
Yeah. So I really dug this whole scene of Declan doing the autopsy. So we get the guy with the poison glands too. I don't remember him at all, but that scene was cool of him.
I don't even
pulling
remember
out
seeing him.
Yeah, me either. Of him pulling out the poison glands, and then Oron, because as we've seen, she heals. So she wakes up on the autopsy table, strangles Declan for a little bit, and then takes off.
Kills the assistant first.
Yeah. Like, what was it? Like, scalpel through the eye. That was awful.
okay. Here's the thing. The dude sees the woman come back to life and he's like, maybe I should stab her. It's like, dude, she just came back to life.
Yeah. What are you going to do?
I don't think that's going to work.
And you need to incinerate her or something like that.
Yeah, it's the vampire thing. It's like, or the zombie thing is like head and destroy the brain.
Would that work in this case though? Because say it was Logan, right? The Wolverine, and he was impaled in the head with some, as soon as you take that out, he's going to come back to life.
I mean, decapitate him and throw the head into a fire? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think he can grow another head.
Well, would the ashes come back to? I don't know. These are
I've seen some weird interpretations of Wolverine, so maybe I don't know.
Depends. All right, so Michelle, we kind of hijacked your last thoughts there because you came up with a couple of great ones there. Do you have anything else you want to say?
No, just how much I adore Mortis.
He is awesome, and the actor that plays Mortis is cool too because he interacts with us on Twitter. So, way to go. Haley, what do you got?
So we had, Maximus monologuing to the statue of his dad, and it made me kind of wonder, like, if he had just been made king, like if they hadn't had the whole, oh, you're a human, you can't ever be king. Like, what kind of king would he have been? Would he have, on his own still come up with the idea to get rid of the caste system, or does that just come from, his, he was affected by the caste system in a negative way, so he's got a problem with it. I wonder what could have been.
That's a good question. I don't know. That's because he's definitely been affected to the negative of Terrigenesis. But if he had come out of Terrigenesis okay, wow, that is an excellent argument on genetics versus environment.
Or no, not even come, like, if the reaction to his Terrigenesis had been different.
Right, which would have been environment, but it's based on his genetics, so it's...
No, how his family reacts is not based on his genetics.
Right, but the reason that he came out a human is based on his genetics.
Right.
So...
But they made the decision that meant he couldn't be king.
Yes. Can't be king, you're not Inhuman. Sorry. We'll see you later. Bye. But you don't have to go to the mines because you're still part of the family, so we'll keep you around. Something like that.
Yep.
That is interesting. And then the whole thing with Tobin also is interesting because now Tobin he's found the resistance. And we have 3 episodes left, so we'll see how the resistance goes. And I believe, Did it look to you guys in the preview for next week that the royal family was going to show up back in Adelan next week? It looked like that to me.
Yeah, I mean, all they got to do is find Crystal, and then they can all go back with Lockjaw.
Yeah, pretty much.
All they have to do is go to the beach. She'll be there.
I mean, why would you want to go back to that, though? You're in Hawaii. I don't ever want to go. Like, when I was in Hawaii, I didn't ever want to leave. It's beautiful, and the food is good, and the people are nice, and just, like, I could just stay there and just, like, I will just eat their just random wild chickens. I will survive off of the wild chickens.
Yeah, the only times I've been to Hawaii, I've come back because I ran out of money. That's it. Otherwise, I would have stayed there. Yeah. Lauren, any last words about the episode?
No.
Okay. All right, that's it. That is the Inhumans. Something Inhuman This Way Comes. Next time on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., we'll be talking about The Defenders, Season 1, Episode 4, Royal Dragon. And next week, I will not be here, but these three ladies will be discussing the Inhumans. The gentleman's name is Gorgon. So that's what you got to look forward to in the next 2 episodes of Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. Now, if you're looking for more additional geeky content beyond our episodes here at Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., we have a buttload of them over at the GonnaGeek.com network, don't we, Haley?
Yes, and one of those additional super geeky shows is Super Geeky Playdate. Episode 59 just came out, top 5 soundtracks. Our good friend Max stops in, and by a weird coincidence, so does our arch nemesis Randy. We discuss Justice League, Star Wars, Black Panther, and all the best music.
Once again, that's Super Geeky Playdate episode number 59, which can be found at GonnaGeek.com.
All right, news this week, starting off with some news about the Netflix series. Jeff Loeb explains why Avengers Tower doesn't appear in the Netflix shows.
IO9 it's an opinion piece. And the thing is, I kind of agree with it. His explanation is that you can't see all of New York from everywhere in New York, which is true. But they've established in the movies where Avengers Tower is located. So it's just behind Grand Central Terminal. So you might not be able to see it from Hell's Kitchen, but in parts of like Jessica Jones and in parts of Daredevil, and definitely in Iron Fist, you should be able to see it because it's like right there. There's one example that they have in the IO9 article that Rand Corporation's headquarters is 4 blocks away from Avengers Tower.
Yeah.
So really it's more, just say we didn't want to use the effects budget on that. Just say that.
And it shouldn't even be that much money. You just Photoshop it in there and there you go. Like,
they just have like a little Lego set in the background of Avengers Tower.
I know a CGI building that they can throw in there. It's the Oliver Green Arrow Tower that was in Gotham. They can just throw that in there.
Yep. All right. So now we've got tons of news from Thor Ragnarok. Taika Waititi and Jeff Goldblum did a Facebook Live interview.
Yeah, this is so worth watching. Uprocks has a summary of it. And there's a bunch of GIFs, and it's just them talking. Well, first of all, they talk about Taika Waititi's cameo as Korg. He's made of rocks. At first glance, you'd think it was just a pile of rocks sitting in the corner, but he's actually a being. And on the inside, he's very gentle, very sweet and good-natured. To which Jeff Goldblum says, "You're like a cannoli." They're asked about improvisation in the film. How much of the film is improvised? Jeff Goldblum, 78%. Taika Waititi, 4,500. It's just them kind of riffing off of each other. At one point, they do thumb wars. They're really hilarious. So yes, just check it out. They're both really funny.
So, and Taika, sorry.
So what's more fun, a thumb war or a Nerf gun war?
Nerf gun war.
Thought so. They should have a Nerf gun war next time.
Yeah, but I think that's harder to capture just in one frame. You'd have to do a lot of moving. Thumb wars, I mean, you could just
zoom in on
there,
the
the camera doesn't have to move.
Zoom in on the thumb. Come on, zoom in. Never mind.
Yeah, I know where that was from. Anyways, Taika Waititi also did another video where he responded to IGN comments.
So it's done in the style of like the celebrities read mean tweets thing. And it's really funny. The first one it's Varg, and I'm like, is this supposed to be like Varg Vikernes from, the guy, the murderer that burned churches, the metal band? And from this totally disrespects Norse mythology. I mean, it sounded like him. But his comments are pretty great. At the very end, because one of the commenters' name is Tetsuo, he does an Akira sort of riff. It's really funny. Again, Taika Waititi's a hilarious guy, and this makes me want to see What We Do in the Shadows again. Which I should totally do, because it's Halloween.
And last up for Thor Ragnarok news is you can listen to Mark Mothersbaugh's soundtrack.
I didn't realize Mark Mothersbaugh was doing the soundtrack. Mark Mothersbaugh, by the way, is the lead singer of Devo. And he's done a lot of soundtracks, and right now the soundtrack is available, and IO9 is recommending it, and it's on streaming sites, and I didn't realize, but yeah, it's just how close the movie is. And then they're like, well, the movie's like a week away. Can't wait, you guys, can't wait.
I know, it's coming right around the corner. So is Justice League, so is Punisher. Just a lot of stuff is going to hit in the next month.
Pitch Perfect 3
and Star Wars.
And Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yay! Really, with so many good movies coming out this year, why did August suck so hard?
August and September, apparently. I've just read a news story that basically said they're pulling movies left and right as early as they can from movie theaters just because they can't afford to have them on screens. So, oh my gosh, like Geostorm, for instance, is only going to be out for 2 weeks, and a lot of other stuff has been pulled as well. I
mean, didn't you, as soon as you saw a trailer for that, you're like, I saw this movie 4 times, and it sucked the last 4 times I saw this movie made?
Pretty much, yeah.
Apparently,
yeah, but FX is super psyched because now they've got another movie to put in their disaster marathon.
Yeah, that's right. Yes. So apparently it only cost them $120 million to make, and I think the box office was only 66. Well, you figure a movie like that, it's going to be like 250 million. It was only 122, so I think they got away with the discount there, but at the end, they didn't make it. They only made 66 in the box office, so.
I mean, come on, you have The Day After Tomorrow. It's like that's all you need. Like
2012. We can go on mentioning more.
It's like every 3 or 4 years they make this movie, and every 3 or 4 years it tanks at the box office.
The Core was good, though. I like The Core.
I like The Core too, but that was not a successful movie.
No, it wasn't.
And The Core's not really a destroy the Earth climate type movie, though.
Sure,
not like
the
kind of was. I mean, you're talking about the core stopping.
But it takes
you start with like birds dying and stuff.
Yeah, but it takes place basically inside the Earth, not like The Day After Tomorrow or that 2012 when basically you're still on the surface type of thing. The only one that kind of worked was maybe that San Andreas one with The Rock.
I haven't seen that one. Is it worth it?
I think that's mostly because of The Rock.
Yeah.
When in doubt, use The Rock.
Yep.
And when in doubt about how to treat somebody else, pretend they're The Rock. Mm-hmm. There you go.
All right, and last up, we've got some X-Men news. Famke Janssen on why she exited the X-Men series.
Yeah, so she had an interview with Us Weekly, and she said that the decision to not reprise the role of Jean Grey was decidedly not hers. She said, I didn't give up, they gave up on me. There's a big difference. It was the producer's decision, you know? It's like what happens in life. you get, well, not to me, thankfully, but people, just like when men trade women in for a younger model, it's like that.
Ouch.
Because of the whole, let's go younger and sexier that the X-Men did. And I see what she's meaning, because you see this a lot in movies. It's like, let's go younger, let's go younger, let's go younger. I don't know. Ageism is a thing, and it sucks.
Well,
and there's a sketch, I think it's an Amy Schumer sketch, and it's the last a bowl day in an actress's life, and they're out celebrating it, and it's really good. Yeah, it's a really good sketch.
Well, while I will agree with her intent here, on the other hand, the X-Men is recasting just about everybody. I mean, they're going to they recast Professor X. I mean, yes,
exactly, because they went younger and sexier.
Yeah, it's the franchise needs to live on, and they're doing it within a reboot within the existing series, kind of like what they did with Star Trek. They just went back to a point where they completely shifted everything around. So
younger and sexier.
Well, yeah. You have to reboot somehow at some point in time. If you want to keep the series going, that is.
Or you could just use all new characters.
That's true. You could do that.
Or we could just go back to rehashing the same old stories. I mean, much as I love, like, X-Men First Class, I can very much see where she's coming from.
Right. I'm not gonna debate it. I agree with her there. It's just where's Fox gonna take the series in the future is the question. I don't know.
New Mutants. I am happy with this.
They opened the door to that with Logan. Now, only if they go through with it, we'll see. Doesn't look like it for now, though.
Well, New Mutants is out in April, and I am digging the look of it. So, yay!
And
Cool.
The Gifted is so good.
The Gifted is so good, you guys.
No. Oh my gosh.
Only
Watch
seen the
Gifted.
pilot. Only seen the pilot.
It's so good. So good. So good.
Haley, you're just going to have to revise the schedule at some point when we find a break and let me know.
Oh, okay.
And then I'll start watching it.
You don't want to talk about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. this year, do you?
I think we have to. But I think, Haley, you and I agree. This is going to be the last season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, I
from there.
really can't see it going beyond this.
Especially with the news coming out that ABC or Disney said, thou shall have another season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Okay. That's what's going on. It can't wait, though. It's going to be fun. It's going to be Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in space. So with that, that's the end of the news, and we're going to move on to the feedback.
Okay, so this week we've had some feedback. First off, at Baker Larry 84 said, if fans want crossovers with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I'd be watching and supporting the show, #JustSayin', which he has a point. The show being Inhumans.
Yeah, I think where Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s rating tanked as well is there was less and less of crossover with the MCU, which was supposed to be there. And after Captain America Civil War, we thought there'd be more and more, and there was just less and less.
Yeah, I can see the whole, if they want crossovers, watch the show, support the show. But since ABC was basically told, do more Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I don't know that they're going to be putting a lot of support behind it this year. So, I don't know. We'll see.
Reminds me of the series that come along when another series is in its final years, like Voyager with the Next Generation and DS9 for that matter. With Next Generation, where you have Next Generation in its final year, and you have these other shows that start, but then the Next Generation goes away, and any crossover you have is simply a one-off episode with an original cast member.
We also have from at Mr. Paracletes, Because Science with Cap Shield. There's a YouTube channel called Because Science, and they did a video about why Cap's shield bounces when, the vibranium is supposed to absorb
all vibrations.
Yeah, all vibrations. I haven't watched it because I just got this right before we started recording, but I'll have to check it out later. I would really like to know their explanation for this because, again, it's one of those things that I think drives science people crazy.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Like maybe they say the shield flexes back and forth. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
It creates
I don't know.
Spring moment. Yeah.
And that is it for feedback this week. Thank you guys.
Thank you everybody for getting in touch with us. We really appreciate it. Especially thank you for sticking with Lauren for the live tweets during Inhumans. She really enjoys that. And I enjoy reading them and my phone blowing up afterwards too. So that's really fun. In the meantime, we're just going to steal this moon flag and we're going to run this one out. Thank you. We've made it to the end of another successful podcast on the Inhumans. We really appreciate you listening as we go through this short 8-episode series.
I want to thank everybody who's gotten a hold of us on Twitter. Again, during the live tweets, it's just so much fun. Thank you so much for just hanging out with me there or for sending stuff that you think we might find interesting during the week. It means the world to know that you're thinking of us. Thank you so much, you guys. We love you.
Thank you to everyone that's listening. Thank you to Marvel Collector Crate for sending me a Thor Ragnarok fidget spinner that I've been playing with for the entire podcast.
I got my crate yesterday, by the way. I just haven't opened it yet, so we'll see if the spinner is in there. And Michelle, thank you very much for joining us again for the Inhumans. It seems like you've come along for the entire ride for the series yet again.
Hey, we have to get through this together. And again, this is much cheaper than therapy.
Did you enjoy your Inhumans therapy session today?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And if people want to find you, where can they find you, Michelle?
On Twitter, I'm at Michelle Ely, and I also live tweet the DC CW shows, Supergirl, Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, and Arrow.
And thanks to you, I think I am going to turn my notifications off on my Twitter app on my phone. Because
it's not my fault that you turned them on. and I still have no idea why people like that one tweet, but they did.
It's just, I still got some likes on that tweet this morning. And if you want to hear what that's all about, go back to the Starling Tribune Twitter feed and you can find all about the great retweets and likes that Michelle gets during the week. Was that a Flash episode? No, that was an Arrow.
Flash.
Oh,
no, it was Flash.
It was Flash.
It was Flash.
All right. Well, that's a great show, ladies. Thank you very much. Until next time, I'm Director SP.
I'm Agent Haley.
I'm Agent Lauren.
And I'm Consultant Michelle.
Bye. See everybody next Thursday.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. If you want to leave us feedback, go to gonnageek.com and you will find all our contact information and other shows. You can also visit legendsofshield.com where you'll find our complete archive of podcasts. The music heard on this podcast is by Kevin MacLeod, found at incompetech.com, and also artists on pond5.com and audiojungle.net. The opinions heard on this podcast are those of the individual hosts and do not represent Stargate Pioneer Productions, Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D, or Gonna Geek. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is the property of the Disney Corporation, Marvel Studios, and ABC. No infringement is intended. Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. is copyright 2017.